I just finished a really good book, and it is called The One Thing: The Surprisingly Simple Truth About Extraordinary Results. It is by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. I really enjoyed this book, so I thought I would share some of my thoughts about it with you. My name is Karen Andrews. I'm a clinical psychologist, and my mission is to bring mental health into everyone's home, your home. I hope that something about what I say in my videos will be useful to you in your life and your journey. So the whole point of this book is that you need to decide on your one thing. Now, that is a slightly misleading statement because, of course, there cannot be just one thing. So the authors are pretty clear on how to break it up further. But the idea is that you start with one big, overarching idea, just one, in every aspect of your life, and you use it to guide all your actions thereafter. So you start big and then kind of focus in until you get smaller and smaller until you get to the one thing that you need to do right now. The reason why it's only one thing is so that you can't hedge your bets and decide to have a whole lot of important things on your list. It holds you responsible because, after all, there is only one. I like this book because it's relatively simple. I like the concept, and I think it's relatively easy to implement. I took from the book that the four main aspects were, firstly, spiritual, although not necessarily religious. Secondly, health. Thirdly, personal, which includes family and so on. Fourthly, professional. And I think lastly was social, community engagement. But the first four really resonated with me. So how it works is you sit down for at least an hour or two, and I would say write each of these categories, or the categories that you would like to separate your life into, and ask yourself the question under each one: what is the one thing that I need to accomplish so as to make all other things either easier or unnecessary? And that is called the focusing question. And the idea is that you start large. You start with a long timeline. For example, if you're looking at the aspect of your health and you decide that the one thing that you need to accomplish for your health so that everything else becomes either easier or unnecessary. And if you decide that your one thing is to exercise daily, for example, then you would have a someday in mind, like someday I'd like to be able to run ultramarathon or whatever it might be. Then you'd ask yourself the focusing question and you'd bring it a little closer. Like, what would I need to do in the next 5 years? Then you'd bring it to what can I do this year? And then what can I do this month, this week, and this day? The thing that I can do towards running an ultramarathon that will make everything else either easier or unnecessary. I really like that because it starts broad and then helps to really laser in on the thing that you need to do today, or the thing that you need to implement on a daily basis so that you will eventually achieve that goal. And it is well understood in the literature that writing down goals and then breaking them down into small and manageable steps is a very helpful way to actually go about achieving those goals. That fits in quite well with this concept. The authors say that the spiritual and the personal aspects of your life, and the health aspect, these are all foundational aspects without which you actually cannot accomplish anything professionally. This is something with which, as a psychologist, I wholeheartedly agree. Personally and professionally, I cannot function without the basics in place, and neither can you. Nobody can. Enough sleep, enough nutritious food, water, fresh air, and a little bit of movement minimally every day, the absolute foundation of health, well-being, and of course then productivity. The personal is also incredibly important because social connection has been found to be the cornerstone of well-being and successful life outcomes in the long term. So friendships, connections, intimate relationships, even just human-to-human connections make a difference, a quantifiable difference to your health and well-being, and so form a part of your foundation. Once you have set your one thing in each of the foundation aspects of your well-being, then you can begin to set your one thing in your professional life. And this is where it actually gets quite interesting, because the authors of The One Thing suggest that you go large and you imagine an amazing thing that you would like to do with your life. I don't know if that's that important. I think that, like everything, it depends on you. Your one thing professionally may not seem like a big thing, and that is totally okay, because when you're setting your one thing for your professional life or for the thing that you want to achieve or accomplish as a big goal in your life, it doesn't have to be something that is measurable in terms of the world's eyes as something successful. It just needs to be what you would consider meaningful and successful for your life according to your values. But whatever it is, once you've decided that one thing in your professional life that you want to accomplish, the authors of The One Thing suggest that you devote 4 hours a day to this thing, which is a fairly substantial block of time. And I think that if anyone devoted 4 hours a day to anything, they'd get pretty good at it pretty quickly. And that is obviously what the authors are intending to convey. To my mind, it is not possible for most of us to block out 4 hours a day to do one thing. However, I like the directive because it kind of gives you something to aim for. It gives you an ideal. Where you are going to fall in relation to that ideal may be quite far, but that's okay. It's something that you can do every day towards achieving that one big thing. And that is the part I really like and I think is really helpful. I already use time blocking in my life. I find it super helpful. And as far as I remember, I actually got it from the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People by Stephen Covey, which I read very, very, very long ago and which helped me a lot in my life. Thanks, Stephen Covey. And I learned from that book that it is super helpful to plan out your week ahead and block out time in which to accomplish the things in your plan. Otherwise, they're not going to happen. But what was really helpful in how the authors of this book explain the time blocking is that now you're time blocking in service of your one thing, rather than just time blocking things on a to-do list. I really like that because my to-do list personally can get very overwhelming at times. And I really like that the authors of this book advocate that you embrace chaos. You accept that chaos is going to happen because of time blocking for your one thing. I really like that. It makes a lot of sense. And in a way, it's giving me permission to just allow some chaos to develop in my life while I focus on what is really important to me. And the other stuff can either take care of itself or it will become super important and urgent, in which case I'll have to take care of it, or sooner or later it will all become easier or unnecessary anyway because I will have accomplished my one thing. If you're enjoying this video, then please click the like and subscribe buttons and turn on the notification bell. Just like with anything else and anything else that I say or any book says, you need to take what resonates with you. You need to take the thing that feels right, that your deep inner wisdom tells you is the right thing for you. And nobody else is the expert on that better than you are. And this approach might not resonate with you at all, in which case, ignore it. But if some of this does resonate with you, then use it, because when something resonates with you, it's the thing that's going to be the most helpful, and it's going to be the thing that you're actually going to use. I recommend this book. I thought that it was well worth listening to, and I enjoyed it. It certainly helped me to make my one thing in each area of my life a little bit more concrete. As a psychologist, I can see that this is going to be useful to me and to my clients, because it's a coping strategy. It's a way of taking everything that seems so big and so overwhelming in this world and narrowing it down to what is, after all, the most important, the thing and the things in each aspect of your life that are in alignment with your values and with who you really are and who you want to be and who you will be proud of becoming. I hope that you've enjoyed my thoughts about this book. If you have, please let me know in the comments. And if you have any kind of question that you'd like to ask me, then let me know and I'll make a video about your question.